I'm Belle Taylor. I did a chemistry MSci at UCL, graduating in 2013, and I'm currently a communications and engagement manager at the University of Edinburgh School of Maths. When I'm not at work, I do lots of sciencey communication stuff on the side, and so that takes the form of some comedy shows I do with my friend Charlotte, and I also do kind of comparing and hosting sciencey comedy events. So I've always loved science and maths and that sort of thing. And it was certainly when I was at university that I really discovered how much I loved communicating science. So to start with, that took the form of sort of helping out at events and doing kind of demos, and I was obviously doing chemistry, so kind of helping out with things on the ground at events and things like that. Then I started doing bits of writing and things and realizing that I could communicate in different ways. And then I realized as well that I don't have to be the communicator. I can help facilitate other people to communicate what they do as well. So that's what I love doing, and that's what my role entails. So I do communication, which is more of the writing, the online, the stuff you'll read and trawl through. And then I do engagement, which is events that you'll attend or be part of. I love connecting people through science and maths. I think it's really, really important to communicate science with people who are not scientists, especially as someone who grew up in kind of one of the corners of the UK where we maybe didn't have access to kind of universities and traditional science mediums like that. I think it's kind of really important to remember that everyone should be able to access science. I think the main thing that they don't tell you about working life, or that you learn, is that you have far more flexibility and autonomy than you maybe realize. I think one of the preconceptions of going into the working world is that this will be your job and that is it. But actually, the job is yours to make of it what you will. And while this certainly won't be the case in every field of work, I understand that. I've been lucky enough to be in roles where I can make it my own and I can sort of explore the avenues open to me, which makes a role in itself a far more flexible, growing creature than you maybe think it is. There's ways that you can kind of make it clear, I'm doing all of these, but this is my favorite part. And chat to your manager and say, actually, I like this bit, can I do a bit more of that? And then if it goes well, they might say, oh, why don't you do more of that? And actually that bit you were doing can go to that person. So it's something which will obviously grow and change over time. It's not kind of I want to do this and you do it. But I think being vocal about what you're enjoying, what you're finding difficult, or what you're necessarily not garnering any knowledge or enjoyment out of, is really important. Because there are other people that will enjoy that element of your role, and it gives you scope to then build it into the directions you want to. So if you can kind of think of where you want to go, you can sort of build your job to sort of make that happen. And I think that's a great thing. If I were to give advice to the young Belle, I would just tell her to keep doing what she's doing. I did a degree that I loved. I did lots of stuff outside of uni because I really, really enjoyed that. And I know some people don't do quite as much of that. But if they're not getting enjoyment out of it, then don't. It's not something I did just to tick things off on a CV. It's things that I did because they were fun. I guess because I was at university, I was quite lucky to be on like mailing lists and things, people saying, we'd like some help for this. And I was always the first person to just say, yes, I'll do it. Dangerous at times to be the person that says yes. But it meant I did lots of really, really interesting experiences throughout my time at university. And it meant as well that towards the end of my time at university, and I stayed on to do a PhD at UCL as well, so I was there for a long time, I got to sort of do more kind of roles where I was in charge and managing projects rather than just helping out. Which was great as well because it gave me project management skills and all that sort of thing, well, team management as well. But but it also meant I got good relationships with some of the lecturers, that sort of thing. I kind of learned how to liaise with not just my peers, but people kind of above me, which is obviously very useful in the role I do, liaising with academics and that sort of thing. And I guess at that point, because I was kind of, people knew that I liked doing those things, people would often bring opportunities to me and say, do you fancy doing this? And I'd say, yeah, let's make it happen.